And we're live now. Welcome back, Konstantin. I know we took a little bit of a break, but yeah, we're back at it. So we are back at what we've actually, we said we're gonna rate some stuff and we're gonna go through it. So I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, good to be back. So before we rate some stuff, I think first I'll show you the whole resource guard thing that we talked about last week. I think it's pretty cool, and I put together a very short and sweet demo of what it all looks like. So if I can now figure out the screen sharing, I want to share the screen that is this one. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Cool.
You see it?
Yep, I see it.
So we have a normal recovery services vault. This is where the backups for my blog live. And as you will see, past this ugliness, don't look at that ugliness. As you will see, me, Konstantin Kaminskiy, am owner on this resource. So I'd expect to be able to do anything to this resource, right?
Yep.
Let's say I want to mess with this backup policy. It'll tell me that the vault is associated with resource guard. So it's only possible if I have required access to the resource guard. So let's say I try to change 15. It's going to fail. Or rather, it's going to try to authenticate me to the directory in which I have the resource guard. But then it will fail anyway because of how the resource guard is configured. So see? No.
Okay.
Not allowed. So then we have in a different subscription and a different directory, we have the resource guard resource itself. And as you will see, the resource guard controls certain things, including modifying policies. So if I now disable the resource guard protection on modifying policies and move that away, this will be upset. It will actually allow me to do this now, I think.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, the trick to this is that on the resource guard resource, my user only has reader access.
Yeah.
So this is my user in the directory that has the recovery services vault, that has reader access for the directory that has the resource guard, a resource, such that when you're configuring resource guard, you can see the resource guard resource, but you can't interact with it other than that. So then one thing that I was reading in the documentation that you can do with this, if you wanted to enable but control these kind of changes, is that you could set up privileged identity management in the directory that has the resource guard resource. So then your admin has to go in and do PIM in a very controlled and managed way to make these highly privileged changes to backup policies and backups. So yeah, that's pretty much the cliff notes on that. I think this is pretty cool.
So just give me a quick run through. So how did you get that Ghost backup resource guard? Is that just from?
That's just it's a resource like any resource. You just go. You just go resource guard. Resource guard resource.
Yep.
Yep.
And then create.
And there's
choose what
There's
resource.
really nothing special to it. You just configure the operations that it's managing, and the resource guard resource and the recovery services vault have to be in the same region.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, you need to, if for any multiple recovery services vaults, you need to create multiple resource guards as well.
Yeah, you're gonna need. I don't know if you can read. There probably isn't a reason why you can't reuse a resource guard, but
Yeah, I
if-
mean, it sounds to me like the same kind of deal with having a recovery service vault in every region.
yeah,
Probably
yeah,
on the same underpinning technology, right?
yeah. You'll need to. Yes, one per region should do.
Cool.
Okay, so that's that part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tier list.
Ah, yes, this is what we talked about 2 weeks
Yes.
ago. Yeah.
So this is the tier list. I
So-
made some really corny descriptors for the different tiers.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we will work on this as we go, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
we have S, A, B, and C,
D
and D for now,
and F and triple question mark tier.
Very good, very good. It's my first time seeing this list as well. Konstantin has been working on this in the background, so I kind of gave him like an idea of, maybe we should do this. But yeah, he's actually putting everything together, so that's really cool. So shall we just cover what's? I don't know.
I think I want to start with F tier. I'm in a kind of mood to start with F tier. Then there's something in question mark tier that I want to look at, and then the rest of it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's do F question mark, and then we'll go S to D.
So in F tier, we have this public preview of Azure Dedicated Host Restart.
Okay.
I'm just going to wait for this one to land in terms of why this is an F tier.
But when you undergoing the host and it's... okay. Yeah.
So I put this at F tier because if you're going to be getting a dedicated host, that's the hardware that's for you, maybe rebooting that should be a part of the service from the beginning.
I guess it's one of those where you have a VM and then, like, for example, it's failed or whatever, and you need to actually stop and get it on a different host.
No, this is different.
Okay.
So with Azure Dedicated Host, you are getting your dedicated box that you run your VMs on.
Right.
That's the service. So the idea with this public preview is that they're public previewing a reset button for your own host.
Okay.
It just seems to me like that's something that should be in the product when you release a product like this. I mean, it's my own damn host. Why can't I reboot it? Why do I need an update to reboot my own damn host? Like,
yeah.
That's why this is an F tier. Well, like, why?
I mean, to be honest, in terms of actually being like good, it's something that you expect to have, right? Rather than, obviously it's pretty good for good stuff for making them, for releasing it, but really, it should be being done at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's enough about F tier. I wanted to take a look at this. What is this? Azure Monitor logs. I keep hearing, but I haven't understood. So we know. So we know what a log analytics workspace is.
Mm-hmm. So what is this? Public preview on logs. Azure Monitor. So new Azure regions, that's all it says. So basically,
Yeah,
but
but what's an Azure Monitor logs? Okay.
So where I'll let you read, but basically when you send logs to log analytics and stuff like that.
No, I know that. I don't think that this is that. This is Azure Monitor stuff.
Yeah,
This is parallel to Azure Monitor.
I'm pretty sure you can send that to.
No, you can send. I think the whole point is that you don't have to do log analytics with
okay.
this.
And so the update is that it released on new regions.
Yeah. The update is that the update is that public preview is now in more regions. But I'd like to understand what this is. No, we know about log analytics.
Right. Fine.
I don't get it.
I think it just maybe it just wasn't available in our region. Like maybe with something. Can you just have a look at that thing again, the public preview? And just if I can't read.
How is Azure Monitor logs different from log analytics? Apparently, I'm not the only. Okay, somebody.
Checking my subscription.
This is being talked about.
Checking my monitor. Having a look at logs. So if I.
Oh, don't tell me this is more rebranding. Oh no. I'm sorry. I thought this was something interesting. This is rebranding. Moving on. Moving on.
So what did they say? Then?
It's rebranding, and I'm just embarrassingly several years behind on the rebranding here. Here's what they said.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm behind on the
rebranding.
Rebranding. Yeah, that's how they do
Hold
that.
on. I think we're gonna change the definition of F tier to also in the future.
Rebranding. Yeah, just like anything rebranding.
Any rebranding is just gonna go into F tier by default.
Yeah, Microsoft Defender is definitely one of my pet peeves for rebranding.
Yeah. I mean, say the 3 different directory services names real fast, and yeah. Okay. Interesting things now. Mm-hmm. So there's this dev box thing happening. So it's dev boxes loaded with the things that developers need. I thought this was pretty cool, so calling it out. I haven't had the chance to play around with it, but this should definitely be a good and useful thing. Wait, I think we can streamline
Yeah,
this.
if you can just like make it a little bit. I'm struggling to read as well myself. So
okay, let me see if I can.
Microsoft DevBox is now Microsoft DevBox provides self-service access for developers to high performance with Microsoft. So maximize central. I'm just reading through. So essentially, it's kind of like a container in a way, which has like all the features and tools that you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
look, they have.
I know a lot. Actually, this is a really good feature because I know a lot of organizations that have basically like dev test machines, dev test virtual machines, or what.
Yep.
So it's just like when moving into the cloud, because those dev test machines are like, they're gigantic in terms of gigabytes and all of this. They have all the RAM.
They're doing this through AVD.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the URL, it's still using the Windows Virtual Desktop URL. So yeah, this is.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I like that you have that option, and like as we say, focus on code, not infrastructure, because that's what it seems like to me. Because I think especially when a badly written application sometimes like takes a huge amount of resources. So hopefully this will help developers actually write the application better and not blame the infrastructure for not being able to handle it.
We can hope.
We can
hope. It'll definitely ease the burden of getting the development environment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. Another cool thing, we have a new region. We have a region in Qatar
a region
now.
in Qatar.
Yeah. My immediate thought was, aren't there U.S. military bases in Qatar also? I think that's where
maybe. But Qatar is quite a popular destination, so why not?
No, they.
It's good that Microsoft. In terms of world regions, I think they're leading the way, right?
I think so. I
think they were behind AWS at one point, but eventually they just took over. Like they're now leading the way compared to AWS. They have much more regions than AWS do, and it can only be a good thing. More high availability that you can configure.
Yeah, I will want to. I want to look at that. But I'm pretty sure it's right that Azure has more regions.
Cool. And our last pretty awesome.
Yeah, our last pretty awesome. Maybe one day soon I'll actually have a use case for this, but update management is getting changed.
I've seen this, yes.
And they support Arc-enabled machines. Okay.
Yeah.
I have some Arc-enabled stuff at home that I can do this with. Okay.
Game changer. It's the one which is like, you're not hopefully more organizations go on this and not rely on WSUS servers, because when organizations I've been around in a few, and let me just say, every person that configures a WSUS server usually doesn't take care of it or doesn't look at updates, and it's just like every time I go to it, I'm like, there's so many updates. who's the one that's actually looking at the updates and making sure that, the correct updates are being patched? You might as well just let Microsoft handle that for you, because it's like, that's why I always find in organizations, it's like, yeah, it's a good thing to maybe have, but if like you sometimes you might just get drafted into other things, and then you just might completely forget about it.
Yeah, I haven't been around a lot of WSUS being used. Mostly worked at MSPs, so they use their own third-party patch management stuff. I've worked some with that, and it's not the best experience in the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather the vendor just patch the product that I buy. So essentially, if I have a Windows environment, I want the vendor to patch that environment, and I don't have to fully worry about that patching. This is the thing, because Windows updates, they're known sometimes to break everything, right? So it's just like, I think with this solution, I think it's going to be a lot better, because they test a lot more frequently, and and they can easily pull back and update if something goes really wrong. So it's just like, I think that's a really great solution, and I've been looking forward to this.
And they'll also support hot patch, which is good, and I guess at this point expected.
Yep.
Okay. So private endpoints got support for network security groups and user-defined routes. I'd like to know what the scenario would be for user-defined routes for private endpoints, but cool. I put reserve instance pricing for Azure Cash just because it's reserved instance pricing, and I think any kind of pricing improvements are good.
Do them one by one and go through them one by one?
Sure. So these two are kind of together. So this one and this one.
So network security group support for private endpoints. Yep.
And then the same user-defined route support for private endpoints.
So for the general audience, can you just explain what that means?
So for the longest, until this update, you couldn't control access to a private endpoint with network security groups. So anybody could, you couldn't manage the access. So hopefully that was okay for you and your security requirements. If it wasn't, that wasn't very great. Yeah. And the same for user-defined routes, it just wasn't available. I guess I'm just struggling thinking of a use case where you need a user-defined route for a private endpoint.
Oh, I mean, I guess if you have an application, like for example in one tier, and you need the application to communicate with another tier, and you need it to go over private endpoint, so but essentially you need to just have that route. It's otherwise you'll be, if you configure your route table, you're going to allow everything from that area to go to that area, right? But what you might need to do is just that one app has access to that. So I would suggest maybe that is a use case for it.
Maybe that sounds more like the use case for the NSGs.
No, not really. I mean, NSGs, at the end of the day, there's a difference between NSGs, which are just firewalls blocking ports, and actually being able to route traffic. Yeah. So there is a slight difference on that front.
No, there's a major it's a major difference in functionality.
so yeah, I think essentially, if you do configure, you'll probably be configuring both of them in tandem. But there is a difference between them.
Of course. I guess it's just not clear to me why I would want to mess with the routing if I can just configure firewall rules. Because So
I guess maybe prevent again some sort of man in the middle, because it's essentially for me is if I'm blocking a route, I am happy that no traffic is exiting apart from that one thing. But if
okay,
I'm blocking the firewall, then yes, you can block ports, but then you allow certain
okay,
ports,
I
right?
see.
So that's
Okay, I see what you're going for. Okay, fine, fine. Now I understand. Oh, please note, this is apparently a region.
yes, that is a region.
That is apparently a region.
US Central Early Updates Access Program.
As is US East 2.
I'm wondering if that's something like the MVPs get and something like that in the US.
Probably, yeah,
Early
yeah,
Updates
those
Access
are probably, yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
people who work on updates and like test it,
yeah,
continuously. So
yeah.
they need a region for the. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that would be. It's probably some kind of a virtual region. There's no way it's a full independent region of its own.
Yeah, like I don't think it doesn't sound like it. Well, it might, but what they built an actual full data
Yeah,
center just for that.
probably
Yeah,
not.
that sounds a bit. Yeah, it sounds like an isolated piece in that data center.
Probably so. Okay. Redis Cash and reserve instance pricing for Redis Cash for enterprise. This is
Oh
just
yes, I
yeah,
think this is actually a good update. Yeah,
yeah,
because when you use Azure Cache for Redis, most of the time you'll be quite you know uh static and what you might use and stuff, and the fact that you can reserve a certain amount once you've actually kind of calculated it's really a good thing to have. I've been in I've seen a few organizations that don't even enable reserved instances for their VMs, and I'm thinking, well, you could save like £200,000 or something like that, or £1,000,000 just by enabling reserved instances. But for some reason or the other, they don't do it. But this is
mm,
again a very good example for what organizations should actually enable this. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a good update.
Next is this one. App configuration gets geo-replication support. I think anything getting geo-replication support is good, and I'm still waiting for premium file shares to get geo-replication support. Why don't premium file shares have geo-replication support? What's going on? Please give premium file shares geo-replication support. That will go into S tier when it happens. I might add an S tier when it happens. Rant over. But yeah. This has geo-replication support now.
Cool.
And another one, good one. Azure Databricks can now use serverless SQL, so the SQL can go to sleep when you're not using it, which in my mind is always good.
Yeah. A comment. Hello, Internet Plumber. That is a great name. We have a comment, hey folks, from Internet Plumber, which is a great name.
Hi.
Okay, so let's go into this. Was it
This
serverless
is
SQL?
yeah, no, we're in here. This is it. Serverless SQL for Azure Databricks.
That's pretty good. I quite
Yeah.
like that feature. Yeah, because Databricks is quite a popular kind of tool to be used, and I'm glad that they're actually increasing more and more functionality into Databricks.
Yep.
Right. So let's see the
So
normal.
this is normal service expansion stuff. I don't know how much you want to go into any of these. These are nothing exciting, but things are happening, things are being improved.
Yeah, so Azure Site Recovery Update, okay. Windows Authentication for Azure ID Principles. Yeah. For
Yeah.
synchronization. Yeah, I think actually that's a good update. There's I've actually dealt with a couple of
This one?
examples with this one. Yeah, the Windows Authentication for Azure AD Principles. So I think that's a good update. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I've had a few people inquire about this before, and
Hmm.
and then having to, but the fact that you can do that now, which is really good.
I guess people for their SQL managed instances, they want to bring that quite close to their
Yeah,
AD environments.
yeah. The thing is, yeah, you don't really want to, use a server admin accounts or anything like that. You want to integrate as much as you can, right? Because
Yeah,
you want to make sure that you're using SSO as much as possible.
of course.
So that is one of the reasons why I'm quite chuffed for that, and I'm quite happy that it's being generally available. So yeah.
Hmm.
So use manage identity-based authentication to enable Azure Monitor. Again, that's a good update because you can, manage. I'm a big fan of manage identity. I don't like using passwords whatsoever. So using a manage identity with access is always being available for anything is always a good thing. Yeah. Let's see. API management, extended support for Azure policy definitions. Yeah, that can be
Yeah.
a good thing as well. General availability,
Oh, yeah,
upgrade VMware.
there was. I
Yeah,
wanted to
that's
see this in more detail because they have some kind of a comparison here. So, what do we have? Ooh.
I can't read that all. But yeah, if you can let us know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to summarize this real quick. Oh, you know what? Let me just. I think.
So
I
upgrade
think this will.
VMware
Hold on.
is
Hold on. There's a summary table here. So this is what we care about. Hmm. Mm, mm.
yeah.
Okay, this is good, and this bottom part is particularly good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I quite anything that reduces network like network dependencies. I'm always good for anything
Yeah.
that completely like for example yeah, just anything which limits that is really a good thing.
Yeah. Maybe I mistiered this one. You know what? I think I definitely mistiered this one.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, who else do we have? And then
Azure load testing must use 2.
more. The Azure load testing continues to spread. That's
Mm.
the news there.
Yep.
And then this was in they renamed the agent. It's no longer OMS agent.
And it's now
It's now Azure Monitor agent.
Azure Monitor.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it's like,
OMS was the branding from the previous. It was the branding before the previous branding. It's the original branding.
that's fine. It's always they
Yeah.
always rename stuff, so just
Yeah.
have to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that's Azure Monitor. Cool. I think we've covered everything.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Yep, there
Cool.
were more updates. There were more updates, and if I was an AKS person, there would be about 20, probably about 15 to 20 more updates to talk about. They seem to be really investing into that, and I know nothing about that. So
I can have a look for you, but yeah, well, let's yeah, but it's good for these updates. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up? I think we mentioned the resource guard was Azure dual authorization, right?
yeah, that's the yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all for this week, right? So yeah, we'll catch up next week. So we will try and organize about the same time. But yeah, I will see you next time.